Hey everybody, Jim here with another video for you. This is 5 Forgotten or Underrated Films You Need to See, Volume 15. But before we begin, at the end of this video, if you like what you see, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, please leave comments below. Let me know how you feel about these films, whether you've seen them or not, or if you have any questions at all about these films. Now, normally when we do these, I only do 5 movies at a time. We're going to do 6 on this one, and there's 2 reasons for that. The first reason is because on the last installment, one of the films that I featured was The Sword and the Sorcerer, directed by Albert Pune, starring Lee Horsley and Richard Lynch, and it came out in 1982. Great movie. Love that movie. The problem is that I covered that movie on an earlier installment of 5 Forgotten Films. I guess that movie is so forgotten, even I forgot that I covered it already. So, because of that, I wanted to put an extra movie on here. The other reason for the extra movie is because one of my all-time favorite actors, Donald Sutherland, passed away last year. And I was going to do like a little video of some of my favorite films from him. And I may still do that down the road, but in this particular case, I decided I would add one of his films into the mix as the extra movie and make it one that most people have never seen. So we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to go in alphabetical order. The first one is from 1982, and it is Death Trap, starring Michael Caine, Christopher Reeve, and Diane Cannon. And this one is directed by the incredible Sidney Lumet. I saw this movie theatrically in 1982. I was probably just about 15 years old. And at that point, I had only known Christopher Reeve from Superman. This is not Superman. This movie is a comedy mystery. It's based on a stage play. It's filmed like a stage play. It's more or less a 3-character play. There is another character. I don't want to go into the plots because it'll give it away. But one of the wonderful things about this movie is all the twists and turns, like the poster implies with the Rubik's Cube. I absolutely love this film. This is available on Blu-ray through the Warner Archive collection, I believe. I just haven't upgraded it yet, but I absolutely love Death Trap. So that's the first selection in this installment. Next is a horror film from Stuart Gordon, From Beyond. That is the original theatrical one sheet. This is from 1986, and it stars Barbara Crampton, Jeffrey Combs, Ken Faree, and Ted Sorrell. As I said, this was directed by Stuart Gordon. This was his follow-up after Reanimator. It even includes Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs, who were the stars of that film. This movie is 180 degrees different from Reanimator in tone. Reanimator is basically a comedy. This is not. This movie plays it straight. There are some comedic scenes, or moments, rather. But this movie, like I said, this is not a horror comedy. This is a horror film. Very goopy, just like Reanimator. It's not quite as gross, although there are some scenes that are definitely adult in nature. And yeah, I absolutely love this crazy-ass movie. So from 1986, my second selection is From Beyond. Next, from 1990, Jacob's Ladder, directed by Adrian Lyne, who also directed Fatal Attraction and 9.5 Weeks, among others. And this movie stars Tim Robbins, Elizabeth Pena, and Danny Aiello. This is a trippy movie, man, and I love it. This movie, I'm sorry, let me get the guy's name, was written by Bruce Joel Rubin. And Bruce Joel Rubin had 2 films that were released in 1990. This film and Ghost. He wrote the screenplay for Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Whoopi Goldberg. Ghost was a huge hit. This movie really wasn't, okay? However, they couldn't be more different. But the screenwriter says that when he wrote the 2 films, basically concurrently, they were both having to deal with death. One was about heaven, and the other one was about hell. Ghost is a great movie. I love Jacob's Ladder. This movie is brilliant. I absolutely love this film. So the third selection, I'm sorry, is Jacob's Ladder. Moving right along, from 1995, we have Just Cause, starring Sean Connery, Lawrence Fishburne, Kate Capshaw, Ed Harris, and Blair Underwood. This one is directed by Arnie Glimcher, a filmmaker I am not familiar with. This is a mystery drama. The story is kind of predictable, okay? This movie's not going to win any Oscars, but it's got a killer cast. Anytime you've got a movie with Sean Connery, Lawrence Fishburne, and Ed Harris, that alone makes it a worthwhile watch. This is a good movie. Again, it's not a great movie. This isn't going to be an Oscar winner, but it's a very well-made movie. And again, great performances from a killer cast. So the fourth selection is Just Cause. Normally this would be the last selection, but we're not. The fifth selection this week is The Negotiator. This is from 1998. It's directed by F. Gary Gray, and it stars Samuel L. Jackson, Kevin Spacey, J.T. Walsh, and David Morse, among others. Again, killer cast in this movie as well. This is a suspense drama action film. Very good film. Very good film. Again, not exactly an unpredictable film. I mean, I kind of saw where it was going, although the ending the first time I didn't see coming. But excellent performances again from both leads as well as the rest of the supporting cast. Paul Giamatti is in this, and it's got to be one of his first roles, if not his first role. He is extremely young in this movie. Great film. Really, really enjoy The Negotiator. But our bonus film this week, and like I said, Donald Sutherland, I thought it would be a good time to bring up Murder by Decree, starring Christopher Plummer, James Mason, Genevieve Bujold, John Gielgud, and the aforementioned Donald Sutherland. This is directed by Bob Clark, who also directed A Christmas Story and Porky's and Black Christmas, among other films. 1979. This is a Jack the Ripper mystery with Sherlock Holmes. And Christopher Plummer plays Sherlock Holmes, and James Mason plays Watson. And Sutherland plays a psychic that they enlist to try to help to find this killer, who it turns out is supposed to be Jack the Ripper. This is a slow film, okay? This is not an action film by any stretch. It is very slow. The ending is very slow. It's basically a big monologue from Christopher Plummer. Don't let that dissuade you from seeing this film. It's a very well-made film. It's got a captivating story. And again, look at that cast. They are all great in this, including Donald Sutherland, who was incapable of giving a bad performance. But especially Christopher Plummer and James Mason. They may be the best Holmes and Watson I've ever seen in a film. So that's it for this edition of Underrated Forgotten Films. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please, again, give me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most important of all, leave those comments below. Let me know if you have any questions about any of these films, what your opinions are about these films, and so on. I really look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you on the next one.